everyone, welcome to the channel and आज हम chapter 1 that is what, were, how and when को डिटेल में डिस्कस कर रहे होंगे। पिछले लेक्चर में हमने इसका एक ओवरव्यू लिया था कि इस चैप्टर में हम क्या क्या पढ़ने वाले हैं और आज हम इसको एकदम डिटेल में पढ़ेंगे। ओके, सो लेट्स बिगिन। So the chapter starts with Rashida's question. Okay, so Rashida sat reading the newspaper. रशीदा न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ने बैठती है और सडनली उसकी आंखें एक छोटे से हेडलाइन पर जाती है और वो हेडलाइन क्या होती है 100 years ago, मतलब 100 साल पहले। और ये हेडलाइन पढ़ने से रशीदा के मन में ऐसा सवाल आता है कि हाउ कुड एनीवन नो व्हाट हैपेंड सो मेनी इयर्स अगो, इतने साल पहले क्या हुआ, ये किसी को कैसे पता चलता है, राइट? दिस इज अ वेरी जेन्युइन क्वेश्चन, इजंट इट? मतलब कैसे पता चलता है? आपके मन में भी ये सवाल आता होगा, राइट? So in this chapter we will find out the answer to Rashida's question and yours as well. Okay, finding out what happened. Okay, so agar you have to know what happened yesterday, then what all you can do? You can listen to the radio, you can watch television, or you can just read a newspaper, right? And you will get to know what happened yesterday. Agar you want to know what happened last year, so you can ask some elders, you can ask somebody who remembers, right? But what happened long, long ago? How can we know about that, right? इतने साल पहले क्या हुआ ये तो किसी एल्डर्स को भी नहीं पता होगा because they weren't born, right? 100 years ago or 200 years ago your parents would not have been born, right? तो उन्हें भी नहीं पता। So let's discuss and let's see how it can be done. हम इतने दिन पहले की बातें कैसे जान सकते हैं? Okay, what can we know about the past? So there are several things, बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं जो हम अपने पास्ट के बारे में जान सकते हैं, जैसे what people ate, वो किस तरह के कपड़े पहनते थे, वो किस तरह के घरों में रहते थे। We can find out about the lives of hunters, herders, farmers, rulers, merchants, priests, craftspersons, artists, musician and scientists. और हम ये भी पता कर सकते हैं कि उस समय बच्चे कौन सी गेम्स खेलते थे, कौन सी कहानियां सुनते थे, कौन से प्लेस देखते थे और कौन से गाने गाते थे। What are plays? Plays are dramas, you know. Where did people live? लोगों ने कहाँ रहना शुरू किया, वो लोग कहाँ रहते थे, right? So the first line is what? Find the river Narmada on map 1. So let's just plot the river, okay, on the map. Let's just zoom in. So this is the place, you can see Narmada river, right? यहाँ से originate and then drains into Arabian Sea. Okay, so you just have to remember Narmada river over here. And you know which state is here? Here we have a Maharashtra state, right? So इस तरह से you can remember कि नर्मदा river कहाँ से कहाँ flow करती है. Okay, let's get back to the text. And so people have lived along the banks of this river for several hundred years. लोग जो थे, जो पहले पास्ट में जो लोग थे, they started living near river Narmada around 1000 years back. Some of the earliest people who lived here were skilled hunters, gatherers, that is people who gathered their food. तो जो लोग नर्मदा रिवर के किनारे रहते थे, they were what? Skilled gatherers, and gatherers are who gathers the thing, मतलब इकट्ठा करते हैं. So what they used to gather? They used to gather food, right? So they knew about vast wealth of plants in the surrounding forest. मतलब उन्हें फूड के बारे में बहुत अच्छी नॉलेज थी कि क्या चीज़ खाने वाली है, कौन सी चीज़ नहीं खाने वाली है. मतलब everything we find in forest cannot be eaten. No, there are some poisonous trees as well. So we must have the knowledge कि कौन से fruits या फिर कौन से nuts, कौन से berries, कौन से fruits we can eat and कौन से are poisonous. तो इन सब के बारे में they had good knowledge. They collected roots, they collected fruits and other forest produce for their food. Okay. They also hunted animals. As we know that our ancestors, the early humans, they were what? They used to hunt animals and they used to eat them. So even the people living near Narmada River did the same. Okay. Now find these Suleiman and Kirtahar hills to the northwest. Northwest is what? Upper side is north, right? Let's just show it with a pen. So this is what north. You know this, right? And then some students have confusion ki which side is west and which side is east. So this is east and this is west and this is south. Okay, and what the question, what the map we have to locate? We have to locate it northwest. अभी इतने बड़े map में we have to find what Suleiman and Kirtehar hills, so it's little tough. Okay, but if we just look into northwest, तो northwest किधर होगा? Northwest, so it should be somewhere here, right? So northwest. So here you can find Suleiman and here Kirtehar hills. Okay. So some of the areas where women and men first begin to grow crops such as wheat and barley about 8,000 years ago are located here. मतलब initially जब लोगों ने खेती बाड़ी करना शुरू किया, then it was these places Kirtehar and Suleiman where people started farming and they started to grow crops. And what were the crops? The crops were wheat and barley. Okay. Or then people also started rearing animals like sheep, goat and cattle and lived in villages. मतलब अब एक proper settlement हो रही है, right? पहले तो लोग कहीं भी रह रहे थे, right? अब villages are formed. मतलब एक proper settlement हो रही है, planned तरीके से they are making houses and they are living. Look at the Garo Hills to the northeast. Now, where is northeast? This is north, this is east. So, Garo Hills must be somewhere this side, isn't it? And we have to locate Vindhyas in the central India. So central India is somewhere central, okay? So Garo Hills, where is Garo Hills? Northeast, north and east. So here somewhere you can find Garo Hills. And what all we have to locate? We have to locate Vindhyas. Vindhyas in central India. So this is what? Vindhyas. And this is central India. Yeah? It looks like center, na? Okay, so the next line says, these are some of the other areas where agriculture developed. So what happened? अभी हमें तीन जगह को बारे में पता चला, right? एक ये किर्तहार एंड सुलेमान, विंध्यास एंड गारो हिल्स. So these were the places जहाँ पे कि first time agriculture शुरू हुआ. Okay. The places where rice was first grown are to the north of Vindhyas. तो राइस सबसे पहले जहाँ राइस की खेती जहाँ शुरू हुई सबसे पहले, those places are north of Vindhyas. And I hope you remember where is north, where is east, west, south, right? North is ऊपर. तो विंध्यास के north मतलब इसके थोड़े ऊपर, somewhere here, you know. Next we have to trace the river Indus and its tributaries. So let's just look here. Here you can find river Indus and its tributaries are, see, these are the rivers which are joining Indus River, right? So these are called tributaries. These are small rivers which are joining and to the Indus River, right? The Satluj, Ravi, Chenab, Jhelum, all these rivers. Okay, so these are tributaries. So tributaries are smaller rivers that flow into a larger river. So you can see here, these are the smaller rivers. Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Satluj. These are smaller ones and they're joining into Indus, which is larger one. Okay, so these are tributaries. About 4,700 years ago, some of the earliest cities flourished on the banks of these rivers. Later, about 25,000 years ago, cities developed on banks of the Ganga River and its tributaries and along the sea coast. So what we are noticing कि लोगों ने कहाँ रहना शुरू किया where water was easily available. And I mean, we all know, right, कि water is very, very essential for human existence. Water, we also need water for farming. Also, we need water for animals. Also, we need water. Or what the peoples in past used to do? They used to do farming. उसके लिए they need water, right? और they मतलब उनके पास water को carry करने का कोई effective method नहीं था. So they went near water, right? और दूसरा they used to कि डोमेस्टिकेट द एनिमल्स राइट और एनिमल्स को भी वाटर चाहिए सो वो लोग बहुत दूर जाएंगे उन एनिमल्स को पानी पिलाने इससे बेहतर है कि दे स्टार्ट लिविंग नियर द रिवर उनको खुद भी पानी की जरूरत है राइट फॉर कुकिंग एंड फॉर ड्रिंकिंग फॉर बाथिंग एंड देयर आर सो मेनी पर्पसेस राइट so hence they started living near water bodies. They started living near Indus, they started living near Ganga river and along sea coast. Now let's locate the river Ganga. Okay, Ganga river. So here we find river Ganga. Okay, and these are the sea coast areas. See, Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats. So these are sea coast. And we have to locate its tributary called Son. Son. Where do we find Son? Here is the Son. It is tributary, right? It is a small river which is joining the larger one. The larger one is Ganga, and this is the tributary. So you'll remember what's tributary. Okay. So in ancient times, the area along these rivers to the south of Ganga was known as Magad. Now let's look at south of Ganga. This is Ganga river flowing, okay, and south is what downwards. So this is the Ganga river, and if you look at southwards, so these regions were called Magad, right? And this is where? This is Bihar, right? And it lies in the state of Bihar, okay? Its rulers were very powerful and set up large kingdoms. मतलब मगध के जो रूलर्स थे दे वर वेरी पावरफुल एंड हमने अभी भी पढ़ा कि सेटलमेंट्स जो हैं लोगों ने जनरली कहाँ रहना शुरू किया नियर रिवर्स सो जहाँ पे लोगों ने रहना शुरू किया दे हैड किंग्स एंड दे वर पावरफुल बिकॉज जहाँ पे रिवर होगा वहाँ पे प्रॉपर एग्रीकल्चर भी होगा सो दैट किंगडम वाज रिच एंड इफ द किंगडम इज रिच देन द किंग इज पावरफुल राइट नाउ द किंगडम्स वर सेट अप in other parts of the country as well. मतलब country के दूसरे parts में भी kingdom का setup हुआ. Okay, so throughout, people traveled from one part of the subcontinent to the other. The hills and high mountains, including Himalayas, deserts, rivers, and seas, made the journey dangerous. Obviously, Himalayas is too high, too cold, right? Very dangerous because they have it has got big jungles and it has got animals, right? Or hills को travel करना isn't easy, no. It's very tough. Deserts where you don't find animals, there are sorry, you don't find any life there, right? आपको पानी नहीं मिलेगा, खाना नहीं मिलेगा, कुछ भी नहीं मिलेगा, right? So it was tough to travel deserts, rivers, and seas because वहाँ कुछ भी हो सकता है, right? Desert is what there are large stretch of land where there is no home, there's no vegetation, कुछ नहीं है. So it's tough, no? Rivers and seas made the journey dangerous, but never impossible, right? Even after so much of danger, people traveled, isn't it? So men and women moved in search of livelihood as also to escape from natural disasters like floods or droughts. So now the question is कि इतने dangers को tackle करते हुए why people used to travel? They can live at the same place throughout their life, no? But no, they used to travel. Why? Because मान के चलो we people are living near rivers तो वहाँ flood आ गया. There is high chance कि वहाँ flood आ जाए because it's near river, right? Flood आने के chances बहुत high है. So अब वहाँ पे तो flood आ गया so we must go to some other place to live. No, we cannot live with flood all around. We'll die there, right? So these were some of the reasons why people traveled. Sometimes men marched in armies conquering others' lands. Besides, merchants traveled with caravans or ships carrying valuable goods from place to place. And other एक तो लोग travel करते थे for a safe place to live. Second, armies used to travel to conquer the other lands. Like वो भी तो लंबे लंबे travels करते थे. Merchants used to travel. Why? Because they have to sell the goods from one place to another. They have to buy goods from one country then sell it to other country. तो उन्हें भी बहुत travel करना होता था. And religious teachers walked from village to village, town to town, to offer instructions and advice on the way. तो लोग अपनी धर्म का प्रचार प्रसार करने के लिए भी traveling चालू किए. Finally, some people perhaps travel driven by spirit of adventure. मतलब कुछ लोग ऐसे ही for the spirit of adventure they used to travel. Okay. Wanting to discover new and exciting places. वो लोग तो discover करने के लिए travel करते थे कि what are the new places on the earth, what are the exciting places on the earth. So all these led to sharing of ideas between people. तो अब जब लोग एक जगह से दूसरे जगह travel करेंगे, then they will kind of exchange their culture, exchange their ideas with the peoples living in different parts of the in different parts of the world. Like अगर हम इंडिया से हैं, हम कहीं किसी और country जा रहे हैं, so they will get to know our culture, I will get to know their culture, right? So there is an exchange of ideas, there is exchange of culture and so many stuff. Okay. So the question is what? Why do people travel nowadays? Now answer. Why do we travel nowadays? आजकल we travel for what? For education, for getting a better education. If we are living in villages, we travel to towns to get good school, right? Our parents travel to get a good job. Sometimes we go on vacation to some country or some other state, right? Just as a vacation, मतलब एक तरह से refreshment की तरह. So these are some of the reasons why we travel today. And you think of some other reasons as well. There are so many reasons we travel today. Okay. So let's get back to the chapter. It's asking look at the map once more. We'll look at it, okay? Hills, mountains, and seas form the natural frontiers of the subcontinent. So subcontinent is what our India is a subcontinent. And what it is saying, hills, mountains, and seas form the natural frontiers of the subcontinent, you see. In the north, we have Himalayas here, okay? This side we have Arabian Sea, and on the east we have Bay of Bengal, and in the south we have Indian Ocean, isn't it? So from all the four sides, rivers, I mean mountains, oceans are what guarding us, right? They are helping us to get. They are protecting us in short, right? मतलब ताकि दूसरे लोग invaders doesn't easily come to India. While it was difficult to cross these frontiers, who wanted could and did scale the mountain and cross the sea. मतलब, although it was tough for the other peoples to come to India, but even then, some people crossed the sea, some people scaled the mountains and came to India. People from across the frontiers also came into the subcontinent and settled here, right? So these movements of people enriched our cultural traditions. People have shared new ways of carving stone, composing music, and even cooking food over several hundreds of years. तो जब लोग दूसरे देश से हमारे देश में आएंगे, so they will share their way of living, their culture and their traditions. तो इसी तरह से जब लोग दूसरे देश से हमारे देश में आए, तो we learned different way of carving stones. We learned different kind of music, even cooking food, and ऐसे बहुत सारी चीज़ थी that we learned from other people who came from somewhere in the world, and they came to settle in India, and we learned. Okay, although we ourselves had very rich variety of culture and traditions, but these are just the exchange of cultures. So the next is what? Names of land. Two of the words we often use for our country are India and Bharat. There are so many names we use for India. These are just two. We know Aryavart, Hindustan, and there are so many other names we use for India. but here we are discussing about India and Bharat. Okay, the word India comes from the Indus, called Sindhu in Sanskrit. So Sindhu is what? It's the Sanskrit name of river Indus. It is asking to find Iran and Greece in the atlas. So here is the atlas, and here we find Iran, and here we have India, right? India, Iran, and here we have Greece. Okay. The Iranians and the Greeks who came through the northwest were 25,000 years ago and were familiar with the river Indus. तो you can see ना कि इतने दूर से लोग travel करके इंडिया आ रहे हैं. Greece is here, Iran is here, and India is here, right? The Iranians and Greeks. Okay, so these people knew about the river Indus and call it Hindus or Indos. डिफरेंट कंट्रीज के लोगों के प्रोनाउंसिएशन अलग होते हैं. तो अगर हम इंडस प्रोनाउंस कर रहे हैं तो दे यूज्ड टू प्रोनाउंस इट एज इंडोस और हिंदोस. And the land to the east of the river was called India. So this is the Indus River, and the east of Indus River, east is what? This side, right? East is this side. So this was called what? India, and call it India. Okay. The name Bharat was used for a group of people who lived in northwest. Let's just look at northwest. Upper side is north. This is north and west. This is west. This is north. And who are mentioned in Rig Veda? So Rig Veda is our one of the we have 4 Vedas, right? So the oldest and the largest among all is what? Rig Veda, the earliest composition of Sanskrit, dated about 3500 years ago. So this is how Bharat came into picture. इस तरह से इंडिया का नाम भारत भी है because it's mentioned in Rig Veda. And the video is getting quite lengthy, so we'll discuss about other topics in the next lecture. So that is it for the today. We have just 2 topics left. तो ये सब हम लोग अगले lecture में कर लेंगे. Okay. So this is it for the day. Or you just go through the NCERT textbook, just read it out once, and you will understand everything. So thanks for watching. Bye bye.